Part of the game. Just had my stitches.
Yeah, I'm saying before they go home, last chance. All good, all good.
It's part of the game, man. It's part of the game. It's part of the game. Just had my stitches.
Yeah, I'm saying before they go home, last chance. All good, all good.
Big thank you to everyone who was in attendance, everyone who tuned in, everyone who was posting, tuned in on BT Sports, Top Rank, ESPN, social media. Appreciate you all. Pure appreciation. Good. I'll be back. We back, baby.
What's good, family? Shout out to my doggy, Devil Dog 83 for coming back once again, no doubt about it. So we just heard there from my doggy, Anthony Yarde, exposing Anthony Lossua. Yeah, they got the first same names and that's about it. Listen, people have been saying for a while, YB, AJ this, AJ that. AJ don't have it, people. It's been over for AJ. Listen, fair play to the guy. I hope in the future, teaming up with Derek James. I mean, I've been said that was the place to go 2 years ago, but nonetheless, either way, it's done now. Yeah, you've been washed now by Little Don Usyk. Your career, historically speaking, AJ's career is done. That's what we know now. Yeah, at one point in time, hold my hands up, I thought that AJ, I think I said he could be the greatest of all time. Oh my God, stop it, YB. Yeah, I must repent for my sins. I told you, yeah, why? But I ain't gonna lie to you. If you could take his brain out and put someone else's brain in, it might have a chance, but he got 100%. The dude shot to bits, psychologically speaking. And this Anthony Yarde fight versus Beterbiev shows you the gravity of the situation AJ finds himself in. Yeah, AJ, he was the Beterbiev in the Usyk fight. Do you understand that? In fact, he was beyond the Beterbiev. When you think about AJ versus Usyk, both of the fights, but particularly the rematch, the first fight you can say, everyone can get caught slipping. I don't believe that was the case, but do you know what I mean? The first time you can say, oh, I didn't know, I underestimated. The first time you can almost excuse. The second time, there's no excuse. No excuse at all. That is who you are the second time. There's no doubt about that. Everyone's aware. AJ had a full year. It wasn't 5 months, it wasn't 6 months. It was a full year he had to come again. Yeah, and like I said, Anthony Yarde just went in there with pound for pound the most dangerous man in the world. Even if you think Crawford's better, he ain't more dangerous. Yarde, who has actually less experience than AJ, we keep hearing about, I've been hearing for Andy's younger as well. I've been hearing for God knows how long about AJ's only been doing it 15 years, YB. Oh, what? That's what people are saying, no joke. People say, oh, YB, you got to give AJ some more time. He's only been doing it 15 years. Like, where do they find these guys at? Honestly, boxing is one of the only sports where people can say they've only been doing it for 10 years and it don't count for... Do you know what I mean? Like, what? Anything for me, anything over 5 years, I ain't trying to hear about it. I'm just not. If you've been doing something day in, day out for 5 years, you best have learned the bare bones basics at least. But anyway, the point is, Yarde has a very similar background, even less amateur experience. And he wasn't the Beterbiev going into this fight. Yes, he was a young bull. But Beterbiev was the guy with 19 KOs and whatever else. He was the guy that was to be feared. He was the 10-1 favourite. AJ, he was not only the Beterbiev in the Usyk fight, i.e. the big strong guy, the dangerous guy, pound for pound. He's also another weight class up. Yeah? Do you understand? This is like what Anthony Yarde, and I'm not saying, I think the stoppage was early, but even so, Yarde, see how Yarde came out of his shell into the trouble. He actually started worse than he ended, if that makes sense. That there for me is a true fighter. Everyone can be, it'd be better if Yarde went in there fully believing and just set about Beterbiev, in my opinion. So Yarde did lack a little bit of belief, but whether you lack a little belief to begin with, what counts is it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Yeah? And he may have wondered a little bit what level he was at, but in that fight, after you've been hit a few times, and we know this guy struggles with cardio, but he fought into the lack of cardio. He worked with what he had. AJ, when he gets tired against a dude who's not even a top 50 pound for pound puncher, in that Usyk fight in round 12 or whenever it was, on the ropes, just looking down, down, feeling sorry for himself. Oh, but my trainers didn't tell me. What? Your trainers didn't tell you to on the ropes? Do you know what I'm saying? Oh, my trainers didn't tell me that a top 1,000 pound for pound puncher had me on the ropes. Why would a trainer need to tell you that? Why would a trainer need to tell you? Usyk's never had no one on the ropes. Definitely not a heavyweight. Usyk didn't even have Chisora on the ropes. So don't tell me that you didn't know. Yeah? When a man who don't even have Chisora on the ropes has you on the ropes, there's clearly something not working out. Yeah? I didn't know. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying. My man Johnston, Anthony Joshua, need to retire. Yeah? He doesn't have the essence of the game. It's nothing to do with training or anything else. Because really, AJ don't even... The characteristics AJ's been blessed with, he doesn't need a whole bunch of skill. He could just resort to... And yeah, Yarde's skillful, but there was times in that fight, both men really. I saw Beterbiev with his feet like that, side by side, squared up completely, just chucking. And that's what, when you've been athletically gifted, yes, the skills matter, but sometimes, if it comes down to just putting your chin down and tangling, that's what you've got that blessing, if that makes sense. Some fighters, for example, I guess you could say, to some extent, I guess maybe you can throw Tyson Fury in there, but other fighters, they have to be skillful. Yeah? You can't just, if you relied on just putting your chin down and tangling, you're going to come off the worst side of that every time. But certain men have been blessed, and they take that blessing and do God knows what with it. They haven't got the minerals, bottom line. Yeah? Because you can't tell me AJ went into both of them fights just looking sorry for himself. You'd have thought, the way AJ fought both of them fights, yeah, you'd have thought Usyk was the pound for pound punching heavyweight, innit? That's what, no word of a lie. AJ, that's 100%. So if Yarde was able to muster the courage against a man in his own weight class, the most dangerous man in the world, why can't AJ muster the courage against a man coming up from a lower weight class who isn't even dangerous at his own weight class? Yes, Usyk might box your chops off, but he ain't going to put you out to sleep unless your name's Tony Belland. Do you know what I'm saying? And really, Usyk hadn't done nothing to... It's not even like you can say, well, YB, Usyk came out and really put it on AJ and shocked him. There's just no excuse for it. You don't have the minerals. You can change all the trainers you want. When it comes down... Like, for example, in my opinion, if AJ had it dug in and just not worried about self-preservation, it's too focused on self-preservation, too focused on how it's looking, how am I looking, rather than saying, I'm desperate to win this fight. I'd say maybe at the start of the fight, Yarde was worried how he was looking, but when it mattered, he weren't bothered how it looking. He's worried about trying to win. And that's all you can ask for. You can't necessarily ask for pretty. You can't necessarily ask for the win. You can ask for trying to win. And that's something Anthony Joshua hasn't had probably since the Dillian White fight. I'm trying to think. No, sorry. Yeah, and that, in fact... The Klitschko fight really is a great example. I'd say the Klitschko fight, yes, AJ went down, but look, and that's what I'm saying, that's what's missing. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what the Cabal have done to him, but when he went down in that Klitschko fight, that's what you spoke, that's the real fighter in you. He went down, and look what happened then. It's almost, there's some similar parallels really to this Beterbiev fight. Beterbiev's obviously a lot more dangerous pound for pound than Vlad. But a similar kind of setup. AJ was brand new. He goes in there. He goes down. And what won in that fight? It wasn't being pretty, was it? It wasn't trying to be tip-tap-toe. It was, I'm a big, strong, young, hungry bull, and I want it more than you. That was the highlight of your career. And since then, the Ruiz won, really. And the Ruiz too. Both of them fights say it all for me. He gets put down. Something had changed. He got put down against Vlad and came back fighting. He got put down against Ruiz and was running for his life. And got put down anyway. That's what I can't understand. And that's why I rate Yarde. Because Yarde was getting touched, but he went out fighting. And yes, Tunde, in my opinion, stopped it early, but he went out fighting. Yarde didn't go out just running for his life, if that makes sense. That's the reason the odds shifted. If you were watching the odds, it started at 7-1 or whatever it was, and at one point it went down to like 2.5-1. That doesn't happen If Yarde was just, for example, you can bet, I wasn't there at the time, but you can bet your bottom dollar, yeah. You watch AJ versus Ruiz. 1. Yeah? After AJ got put down, them odds never came back in his favour. They went down and down and down against him. Because he never did nothing. Yarde fought back admirably, and I'm liking what I'm seeing here in terms of his reaction here. Yes, he's lost. Yes, I don't think it's... Yes, celebrating a loss. You know what I mean? Like, I think the thing is, I haven't suffered the things that Yarde suffered. I think when you've lost so many parents and family members, I think that probably gives you perspective. Yeah, when you live a bubbled life where not a lot's really gone wrong, taking sporting losses, you can take them a lot more to heart. But when you've had proper hard things in life, really, you know what I'm saying? I put on a good show, I put out a valiant effort, and I lost to the pound for pound number 1 guy. So that's where I think that's where I think Yarde gets his resolve from. It's not a cocky, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I've just robbed the bank kind of thing. I've robbed the bank and no, he went out there, he left it out there. Yeah. And I believe if the referee... Now, some people are saying, oh, he turned around to quit. I don't believe that for a minute. I just don't believe it myself. I believe Yarde... These guys are often told, when you go down... I'm not sure why they're told that, to be honest. I'm not sure why they're told that. But there is a thing in boxing that fighters are told, if you go down, look to your corner. In my opinion, when you go down, focus on the referee. I don't know, but... YB, he looked at his corner. Fighters are told to do that for some reason. If I was a trainer, I'd tell them, listen, if it's not a minute, people, it's not a minute. Yeah, listen, if it was a minute count, I'd say, yeah, look at your corner and have a chat. But it's 10 seconds. You ain't got time to be looking at your corner in the heat of the moment. What you want to do is focus on getting your resolve back and preparing for what comes next, which is no doubt a dude with a big lipstick out, ready to wick you down. But nonetheless, looking at his corner or not, he came out fighting. And in fact, when the referee... Because the referee even wondered, do you want to carry on? And if you actually... Because, yeah, Yarde's looking at the corner, which doesn't... I ain't going to lie. That doesn't look great. But then, look when the referee questions him, do you want to carry on? He goes, yeah. You can just tell by the facial reactions. He goes, as if to say, it was a look of, yeah, of course I do. You know what I mean? It wasn't a look of... like, for example, watch AJ... When the ref says you want to carry on, AJ like, oh, yeah. But I could just tell that Yarde was almost insulted by the fact that the referee was asking him. That's the look I got. And not only that, he came out and he was ready to do what he'd been doing. I'm not saying he was going to win the fight, but he was ready. He was composed, his elbows were in, his chin was down, and his guard was up. You can't ask for more than that. And he'd been doing that throughout the fight as well. It wasn't the first time. Yarde had been periodically on the ropes throughout the fight, taking the shots and then firing back. But anyway, the point is, Yarde exposed Johnston. Yeah, bottom line. And there's no excuses for that. There's no excuses for their music losses. I don't believe it. I don't believe if you had that courage Yarde had in there. And I'm not saying Yarde had the pinnacle of greatness, because I think Tunde potentially took that from him. Yarde could have had one of the greatest performances in history, but we didn't get that far. It was too new age. That stoppage for me was new age. Yeah? So I can't sit here and tell you that this was a top 10 greatest of all time. It won't even make the top 100, because to make the top 100 would be, or to make the top 10, if Yarde had a comeback here and won that fight, that would have been a top 5, top 10, but Tunde took that from him. That's just what history says. History says people have come back, and people have come back from worse than that, I believe. People have come back from worse than... Remember, his legs were underneath him. He was I mean, I'm not sure what more he would... It's very few people in there with someone like Beterbiev. I'm not sure what else you expected to do. What would you expect Yarde to do? What body language? What more? My point is, what more was Yarde supposed to do at that point to say he's prepared to carry on? Maybe could he pull off the I'm going to come forward into the fire? To be fair, that's a veteran trick there, and that is probably something. But again, in the heat of the moment, especially, that's the thing, experience. You see, that's one thing Mayweather did great. When Mayweather was rocked to his boots by Mosley, Mayweather, you go into the fire. Doesn't make sense, but we know when you're against the ropes and you're backing up, you just target practice. Literally, you literally sniper target practice. Mayweather puts his high guard up and moves forward, because that way you're not lining your opponent up, and that way your opponent's work gets smothered, looking like Sean Porter. That there's an old school kind of tactic, and even if you knew it before, once you've been scrambled, there's no telling what. But yeah, this is the reason this video exists. Yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's not a top 10 all-time great performance, but it had the base was there for it, and this for me is the standard. This is what we expect from everyone out there. Yeah, when you go into world championship fights for millions of dollars on the line, I'm not asking you to. That's the thing people get confused. YB, their brains getting bashed in. Yeah, and you're making life-changing amounts of money. That's how. What do you want? These guys today, they want something for nothing. They don't want to take no risk and still make retirement paydays. That for me, there's an injustice. The reason you're being paid so handsomely is for the exchange, in my opinion. Same as these footballing teams or whoever. Anyone, who just turning up. These big multi-million-dollar football teams who turn up and lose games. I'm not sure, I don't follow football, but I've heard of teams before. I don't know, Chelsea or Man U, who go through these spells and the teams are just lazy. And the fans are booing them, and they're kind of football players are interviewed after saying, "Oh, the fans aren't showing us no respect." Showing you no respect, yeah? You're making 200 grand a week. I'll show you about showing you some respect. Start winning some games, or better yet, not even win some games. Start pretending like you want to win some games. Yeah? Stop being schoolgirls, throwing your toys out the pram. It's the same all around. This so happens that boxing is a dangerous sport. Yeah, but we know that, and that's what I've been saying about AJ. It's no good to AJ fans tell me YB, but his brain and listen. I told you, retire. That's the point I'm making. Yeah, don't tell me. Well, I don't want to lose brain cells. Yeah, that's fine. Just don't take no one's pay-per-view money. Sit down somewhere, be quiet. Don't turn up, have a D-level average, no heart having ass performance. AJ versus Ruiz. Sorry, AJ versus Usyk 1. AJ versus Usyk 2, I saw no heart. I saw no heart. I saw no greatness. I saw no legendary status. I saw a dude in there having a sparring session. Yeah? And yet he got paid probably more. AJ making more money than Mike Tyson. Or even, the greats made. The true greats made 10 times more than they made. Inflation or not. That to him is an injustice. But I blame you, it's all you man fans out there. Because you're the mans who are buying this pay-per-view. AJ, for me, the last time AJ earned a pay-per-view was probably really the Klitschko fight. That's the last time he earned one. Ever since then, it's kind of been, yeah, he win, but it's not been, I haven't seen that, you know what I'm saying? So, especially recently, it's been mediocre. For me, the last two AJ versus Usyk fights, AJ should be making about 50 grand a pop, in my opinion. That's how much he's earned from them performances. 50 grand, 60 grand, some of the tops. Even that, he should be biting my hand off as well. If I was in charge of things, AJ would get 50 grand for them fights. Based on what he delivered. Based on the value he delivered. No value whatsoever. Absolutely pathetic performances. I've never seen anything more embarrassing in my life when you think about the standard that Yarde set. Which really, that's all we're asking for you is to fight back, isn't it? You know what I mean? Have a fight, if it comes to it. If you can win pretty, great, but you can't win pretty. We knew that after the first Usyk fight. You tried all that rubbish. Put your chin down, get your elbows in, and wing away. And whatever I say about B-level beefy, listen, the way when B-level beefy popped Ubambi's chin, Ubambi Jr., Chris Ubambi Jr., B-level beefy, he did what he's supposed to do, turn up, have a fight. And that's one thing, for me, he's B-level, but still. Liam Smith, he's renowned for doing that. He will, whether it's Canelo, Munguia, he will turn up and have a fight. Whether he gets his ass beat or not, it's irrelevant. He will turn up and have a fight. But this Johnston guy, and people can say, YB, you're always talking about AJ. Yeah, I'm always talking about him because he's the guy right now milking money and doing nothing for it. There's no bigger poster boy there's no bigger, it's a bit like people making videos when Manchester United weren't doing the right thing. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about Watford City because They're not. It's not relevant, is it? Who care about? Of course, the Watford City fans might care, but on a YouTube scale, people ain't talking about Watford. What Watford doing? They want to know why these the top level guys who are being paid top level coin aren't performing. And right now, AJ is the flag bearer for that. There's no dude more overpaid and delivering less value right now. No excuse for it. It wasn't a difficult... I'm sorry, the Usyk fight, it wasn't a difficult fight. Chisora set the blueprint. Chisora ragdolled Usyk around the ring. And Chisora's not as strong and as young and as fresh as AJ is. No excuse at all. Not as pound for pound punching us either. AJ arguably, I think Chisora had a better loss against Usyk than AJ did twice. That's my opinion. I think the Chisora fight could have been a draw, truth be known. Tyson Fury said that as well, for what it's worth. The AJ fights, they weren't a draw. That's what we know. Do you know what I'm saying? Chisora showed Usyk no respect. So, anyways, salute to Yarde. Salute to my doggy Anthony Yarde. AJ, listen, sit down somewhere 100%. Sit down somewhere or don't. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping, he goes to Derek James and he pulls a cat out of the hat. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell 100%.